Saturday, February 10th, 2018. If you're new to the show, I'm Justin Castelli, and this is the weekend review for All About Joe Benjamin's weekly mixtape. First off, I want to start by wishing my mom a happy birthday. Today is actually her birthday, so I wanted to begin with happy birthday, Mom. Okay, let's get to this weekend review. What an exhausting week if you've been watching the markets. Hopefully you're not spending a lot of your time following the markets, but if you are, it's been a very volatile week. Volatility has returned, at least in the short term. The Dow last week ended at 665. I'm not going to do the 666 number on Friday. Monday, down over 1,000 points. And then through the course of the week, a crazy statistic, the Dow moved 22,000 points in a 2,000 point range. So if you think about like a football player on the football field, you know, he may get a 20-yard gain, but he ran 70 yards because he went side to side trying to avoid tacklers. Well, the market moved 22,000 points over the course of the week in just a 2,000 point range, meaning it only went up or down total between 2,000 points, but the moves up and down, the volatility moving around was 22,000 points. Crazy. I've been mentioning to clients in these videos, we've been overdue for a correction. By no means am I the only advisor or investment professional to have been saying that over the last year, but correction is here. And to be honest with you, I haven't really been paying too close attention to those numbers, but I don't know if we actually have closed in correction territory, which is a 10% down from highs, or if we just touched it. We definitely touched it throughout the week. 10% is an arbitrary number. I don't know who picked that as our definition. Why 10% is a correction and 9% is not. It is what it is, but obviously volatility is back in the market. That's the main thing from this week's news that I was going to cover. A lot of reasons are being thrown around. Could be inflation, could be interest rates rising, could be we were just overdue for a correction, could be ETNs blowing up and the systematic risk from that, could be the computers and the algorithms taking over causing this. A lot of reasons, a lot of them have good justifications behind them. At the end of the day, no one really knows why we had this correction other than we had this correction. We don't know how long it's going to last. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of value to the media for having somebody to come on and say, I don't know why this is happening. It's part of the game that we play when we invest. It's normal action. Last year was not normal. This year, having volatility return, this is more of what a normal market may look like. We're just seeing it all at once. So, market volatility is back. Probably is going to be here for a little bit longer. If you're interested in learning more about volatility and the VIX, which is how we measure volatility, I just wrapped up this morning a great, quick, short podcast with Andrew Thrasher, my friend, who's an expert in that area. So if you're interested in learning more or want to hear what Andrew has to say about volatility and VIX and how you might or might not want to be using it in your portfolio management or your financial planning, head on over to iTunes or go back one blog post to check that out and listen to the podcast with Andrew Thrasher about volatility and the VIX. Nobody better to talk about that, so I was pretty excited that he came in to do that. So topic one for the day, volatility, the market. Stick to your plan, talk to your financial advisor, revisit your investment strategy, and then also realize that with all of this, we're up over 20% last year. So we're down a little bit on the year this year. That's okay. It's only February. Still a lot of good out there. We'll see what happens. But don't make rash decisions. Don't make emotional decisions on your money just because of the moves in the market in the short term and what you may be hearing or reading in the news or online. So I'm going to leave it at that. We already know that's there. Next up, we had another government shutdown, and just like that, it was back open. I bring that up only because we had it in the past. I told you it would come up in conversation again. This time, though, was a lot more quiet leading into the potential shutdown. They shut down at midnight. Overnight, they passed a budget bill to continue forward and get back to work. So a very, very short-term government shutdown. No need to spend a lot of time there. Those are the two big main newsy things I wanted to talk about. This week we had Elon Musk have an amazing feat with his SpaceX company. So he's well known for Tesla, but he also owns a space company. The goal is to get people out to Mars. This week he launched Heavy Falcon is the name of the rocket. It's the most powerful rocket in the world. He launched it, sent one of his roadsters out in orbit towards Mars with Starman, which is a dummy that's dressed up as a spaceman, heading out to Mars in his Roadster. Read a really funny tweet that was it possible for Elon Musk to just have carried out a public execution and that Starman was actually a person that he sent out to space. And then that person said, maybe somebody should go check on Jeff Bezos and make sure that he's okay, given that they both have this goal of getting to Mars first. So the launch itself was awesome to see, but what was real cool and what you have to go find is video of two of the rocket boosters coming back down simultaneously and having a synchronized landing on the ground on a launch pad. Absolutely amazing. You've got to see it to believe it's awesome. I'm not a big space geek, but seeing all this is real cool, and it's amazing to see what we're able to do in today's terms. Who knows if it ever actually amounts to anything, but it's pretty cool to see. So SpaceX happened, which is real neat. If you have kids, go show them that. And then finally, to wrap up the Super Bowl last week, obviously the Eagles won. I came on last week's video, said I'd be rooting for the Patriots because I can't root against greatness. But I wasn't emotionally tied to anybody, so didn't really care who won. Was glad to see the Eagles win. It was kind of cool, and to hear all the storylines that are with that team. So Eagles win the Super Bowl, and then this week we have the beginning of the Winter Olympics. So we love the Olympics in our household. We'll be watching a lot of it throughout the next, I think it's 17 days of events. So it's a time of year where we watch curling and cross-country skiing, and we forget about those sports for another 4 years. But the Olympics are off and underway over in South Korea. And pretty cool last night to see South Korea and North Korea walk under one flag. We'll see if that does anything to change the dynamic of those two countries, but that was actually a pretty cool thing to see. And then I mentioned last week that I thought the All-Star game for the NBA was this week, usually on my birthday weekend. Unfortunately, I was off by a week, so I wanted to put out my air and admit that I made a mistake, that the All-Star game for the NBA is next week. So a very short weekend review. There was a lot of events, but not a lot of great big news impacting your planning. The market's going to be the one that most people are reading about and seeing. Again, I'm always going to refer you back to your advisor, refer you back to your financial plan, remind you why you're investing, and you're investing for the long term, and that you can't get the rewards of the market without taking on some risk. Now we're just being reminded of that in the short term. So with that, I'll let you get to your weekend. Don't forget to check the blog posts down below that I'm sharing for this week's mixtape. A lot of good ones there as usual. And be sure to head on over and listen to my conversation with Andrew Thrasher about volatility in the VIX if you're interested in that. We did a great job. He did a great job of breaking a very complex topic down so that us average normal investors can understand it, not the professionals who are actually dealing with it every day. So check out the blog post, subscribe to the podcast as well. Always leave reviews. If you have anything you want me to cover on any future videos, topics of discussion for the podcast, you can email me at contact@allaboutyourbenjamins.com. Find me on Twitter at Justin Castelli. That's JUS10 CASTELLI. And with that, I'll see you in the next episode. Have a great weekend.